Hello and welcome to our next video. In this lesson, we're going to very quickly define our own class that we can see how we would use in code. So we're going to start with a blank slate here. So go ahead and open up a new BlueJ editor and just name your class whatever, 0006, defining a class or whatever you'd like to name it. We're going to right click and say new class, and we're going to call this a new class person. And then the person class is going to just be code. So let's go ahead and just kind of wipe this clean a little bit. And we're basically going to just have a couple of private variables. Now, please note, as you work with code in our course, you should be doing test-driven development. So you should actually be writing your tests first. But I want to review just our own class here really quickly. So I'm going to skip the test-driven development for now. And you'll need to learn and continue to work with writing tests as you grow. So here we have a private variable. We're going to just have string name, and we're going to have a private int age. We're going to just keep this really simple. We have our person class, and that person class has those two instance variables, name and age. Note they're private, they're locked down. We don't want anybody else to access those. Now, if we don't do anything for a constructor, right now we have the ability to construct our person. We can create a new class called program or driver or whatever, and we can do that here, or we can right click in BlueJ and we can get our new person object, and we'll call him, Brian. And that Brian person has, some methods that it inherits, but no way to set or get the person object at this point. So we need to add getters and setters. So we're going to add public methods that allow us to access them through the code outside of this class. And so we're going to have an int getAge. And we're going to have, I'm just going to type these out first, and we'll change the signatures later to make everything work correctly. Void setAge. And I'm going to pass in a string or an int value here. It's important to note that the variable name does not matter at all. It can be whatever you want. So I often will just use value because number one, that's what C# does. And I'm more of a C# programmer than a Java programmer, believe it or not. And also, it helps me to show you that it doesn't matter what it's called. So we'll go ahead and stick with that. So string get name, and we'll get public void set name. So again, it doesn't matter that we're reusing those variable names. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these curly braces or whatever curly brackets, however you want to call them, and I'm going to put each one to make my methods complete with signatures. Now I just need to return something. So here I'm just going to return age. And also because I didn't name these the same, I don't have any conflict of value. Here is very easy to track. So age equals value. And get name is going to return name. And again, name equals value. So don't be confused that number one, I didn't write any unit tests. And number two, that value is reused here. This is just a common term for us as humans to be able to see what's going on, and ultimately the scope, remember, is within the declaration here. So as long as we don't declare value up here, reusing it here and here doesn't matter. And if it really makes you nervous, just say nAge or something and change that so that you can have something that doesn't make you so nervous. If you want to write cleaner code, you might do that too. And clean code, I mean, variable names that actually mean something. But really, these are so minimally scoped, I'm not going to worry about that. My more important name is here, or variable name is here with name and age. Those are important to keep clean because I need to know what I'm storing. So now that I have those, I can actually go ahead and create my new person here. And as I create my person, Brian, I can say, set my name and my age. And so if my age was, let's say it happened to be, 29, for example, I could do that. And then I could also say, set my name. And then I have Brian, and I can get my age, and I can, get my name. So I can see that my variables are set correctly. I still can't really work with it other than that because I don't have anything else done as far as like printing out the values using a toString. And I really want to leave that till later in the course for now because we're going to cover inheritance very quickly. And when we get into inheritance, we'll talk about overriding methods and overloading methods. And those types of concepts you may not be familiar with yet, and we want to spend a little more time diving into that. And getting the toString overridden correctly is part of that. And so I'm just going to leave this where we're at for now. But what we can see is that we do have our public class person, and we've created a couple of private instance variables, and we've wrote properties on there for getting and setting. And again, if we had done this correctly, we would have taken the time to first write a unit test. The unit test would have exercised that person class, and we would have had getters and setters exercised through that. So unit testing, we would test the constructor, we would test the properties, and any other specific methods for that class, which we didn't have any in this one. But that wraps up our quick look at defining our own custom class to use in code. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time.